185milessouth.com.
Smash that Patreon button.
185 Miles South, a hardcore punk rock podcast.
It's a wrong to want to walk away when every day of your life looks like the day. It's a day that's like a rotten life is great. I don't know where things went wrong with me, but I feel like a damaged candle of the person I'm always willing to be. And I've been thinking about my past.
What's up, everyone? This week on the pod, we are diving deep into the year 2003. Helping out, you know him, you love him. He is the best dressed man on the pod. He is Daniel Sant. What's up, Dan?
I love you, always, forever.
Also helping out, Chris, you know this is the year that your theme song came out. 6'2", what you gonna do? It is the mighty, mighty Posy Chris. What's up, Chris?
Respect. What's cracking?
And rounding us out, it is the guitarist of praise. It is Austin Stemper. What's up, dude?
Hey, not much, man. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. It's always fun to have some fresh blood, especially when we're talking these years that we were all very active in playing in bands to get a little East Coast flavor. That's nice, you know. But shout out Clevo. You know you're our number one, dude. Don't get sad. Dan, the year is 2003. What is your take on it?
Like you said, we were very active. 2003 was a really fun, great year for hardcore, especially here in Southern California. Tons and tons of good bands. People that were doing great bands, those bands ending, transitioning into new bands that also ruled. You know, this is the year of The Truth Hurts, In Control. Like, Jesus Christ, what a record. Indecision Records was putting out straight fire this year. So was Bridge 9. I really loved hardcore. I mean, I really do love hardcore generally, but I really loved this year, this era. It was very fun.
Yeah, SoCal, the PCH Club is gone, so that's a big loss, but Ojai Women's Club is in full swing, which is great for us in Oxnard because one of the meccas in SoCal is so close to us, and what a perfect club. This was my most active year ever of playing music. In Control, we did 2 full U.S. tours. Fully DIY booked by me. And we also did like a West Coast Nevada AZ run with Modern Life is War that culminated in Sync with Cali Fest that has been kind of lost to history, but was kind of important for the time, I think, right? Like it's a little SoCal festival that was putting on a lot of the bands at the time. Also bringing back Outspoken for their reunion. I believe that was their first show since the Unbroken Outspoken reunion in 98.
98.
Yeah. It's like their first show in whatever, 5 years. So, wild. And yeah, we put out an LP, and I don't know if the final 7-inch came out this year, came out in 04. Discogs says 03, but I mean, who fucking knows? Hell of a year for hardcore. Looking back on it now, a little thin in the things that I like, but the things I like a lot. I mean, it was on at this time. You know what I mean? Like the shows were great. It was a tight-knit unit of people. The scene was not dead by any means. Also, like we should mention, the Terror LP came out, I believe, in December of 2002. So 2003 is kind of the year of Terror, although they're not going to be represented here because they just have that split 7-inch with Ringworm that comes out this year. So yeah, that's kind of a wild thing. We'll hit it if we ever do 2002. That band was on fire, dude. And really everything that came out of the Carry On breakup was on fire. You know, you have Terror, you have Internal Affairs, you have Knife Fight with Westbrook, who played at Carry On at the end. Piece by Piece, these bands were all doing things. So 2003. What do you think, Chris?
Yeah, I mean, like you guys, I was touring a lot. This not the most I would ever tour, but like we were also writing like our first LP at that time. So it was spent either on the road or writing this LP. So like, you know, it gets squishy, like all the memories kind of blend from year to year. But I think this is a year that had like a lot of high highs and low lows, like slaving over trying to like get that LP out, and you know, the clashing over creative differences and just like fine tuning it while on the road, while trying to rack between the road tours and stuff. But a really fun year. I think, the number one thing that stands out to me is Posse Numbers that year. It was my first time ever going to a fest like that, I think, and certainly playing. And our set is, to this day, like one of the funnest sets I've ever played. I was actually, speaking of Terror and this being the year of Terror, I was actually just this week watching a video that From Within Records put up on Instagram of Terror set from Posse Numbers. And man, what a fun time.
Yeah. I mean, it's so sick. And you're right. I mean, there was a lot of turmoil like this year. I mean, this was also the year that, I decided to break up In Control because like we just were having too many drummer issues. And we lost one of our drummers in like spectacular fashion too, when he quit the band in Texas and we left him there. So there's that. What are you going to do? Austin, what do you think? 2003.
Well, I guess unlike all of you, 2003 was kind of the year that I started to really participate in the scene in hardcore. In 2003, I was 16. And my first band kind of got started then. And by first band, it was a band that did a 7-inch and did some touring here and there, but nothing like remarkable, like Chris's band and your all's bands doing, the bi-coastal stuff and the full US tours. But, no, so from my eyes, when Chris asked me to do this episode, I initially was like, 2003 would be fun because, that was a year when I was really wide-eyed and bushy-tailed to everything. And then I thought, well, would I want to do a year where I was like more involved and, a little more tenured and had a bit more veteran status and, a couple more years under my belt. But I decided to just keep it 2003 because I figured it could offer a nice perspective or like a different perspective than you guys. Yeah, just kind of being like so new to it all and just taking it all in like a sponge. And echoing other things that you all have said, yeah, I had trouble. Well, I guess I didn't really have trouble coming up with a playlist because, again, like everything was so fresh and just mind blowing to me in 2003 that I was just like, man, I had like a list of 25 songs that I could have put on this playlist and I had to whittle it down. That was the hardest part of doing this. But it really did feel like this was a year after the breakout records or like the monumental records from 2002 were released. In 2003 were kind of the years that were bands were out playing on them. And yeah, like you all have said, I mean, Terror was the top of the heap. They were just, it was like crossing scenes over. I don't know if you all went to the Hellfest the year before in 2002. I went to that, and like Chris said, Posse Numbers was a really cool counter to that because, Hellfest was on a fairground and there were 3 stages going, or maybe it was 2 stages going, super pro and just a huge event. And Posse Numbers was a fire hall in the middle of nowhere, Pennsylvania, but it felt like it was the most vital, just epicenter of hardcore in 2003 in the world. It was just, it was like, it was Mecca almost. So yeah, it was a cool year and it was just cool. It was also a year, I think, that a lot of scenes and a lot of different splinters happened within hardcore that created some really interesting avenues. Just a lot of bands playing with the style and the genre and kind of planting seeds on what would eventually grow as years go on into like these new just paths that hardcore could take. It was it's a very just like nebulous year. And yeah, I'm really excited to talk about it.
Yeah, hell yeah. I'm team Posse Numbers too over Hellfest, but let's not pretend both places were full of posers. So that's that. Okay, straight up. Okay, Dan, what are the rules of the Super 7 and what is the order that we're picking in?
As Austin could probably tell you, since he says he's listened to them all, I haven't seen him voting for in those comments, though. No, what's going on with the Super 7 is our fun way of building the best playlist from a certain year. You can pick the same band, but you cannot pick the same song. And we go in the order of like a fantasy football style. with me being first, you being second, Austin being third, and the Tacoma Curse being fourth.
Ooh. Yeah, and Dan says you being second. That's because I am a man of the people, so I will pick second along with all the 185 listeners out there, funneling your picks into one perfect pick. Okay, Dan, what is the best song of the year 2003?
Okay, that was extreme pandering from your loyal host there. Okay, you got to think about this strategic. This might not be my very favorite song from 03, but it is one I want on my list because I have a couple that are maybe I like a little bit more, but I am taking this song now so I can have it on the list, and I think it is an epic. It is one of the most like brilliantly laid out songs for and it just makes you feel. It makes you absolutely feel. You know, if I say to you, wrap your arms around me, I'm fucking freezing. You know what I'm talking about. This is Song for Tonight by the Suicide File. This is the closer on the record Twilight. And this is quite different to the rest of the rest of the way the songs are written on the LP. Even though they're completely like it locked in step with each other. It's just this drawn out, letting the guitars go, and then the drumming is incredible on this, and the way the song falls apart at the end. It's an all-timer. It's an incredible song. So I'm going for that right now.
I think it's a great pick. It is the song that makes this LP a great LP instead of a really, really good LP. It's just a great tail end of it, right? To do that like slow banger on the end. And yeah, I don't know if this is the best song on the record, but it is maybe the most vital song on the record, and the record would be different without it. So, but as a standalone, I don't know if this is the best song. But yeah, killer pick. What do you think, Chris?
Great song. I also don't know if it's the best song, so I'm going to abstain from comment, at least for right now.
Okay. Austin, you want to speak on this, or should I take my number one?
Yeah, I'll speak on it. Dan, you sniped my list. That was definitely on one of my 7. And like I said earlier, you don't really know what to do until you get punched in the face. And now I'm scrambling to find a closer for my 7 on my playlist. I have a good amount to choose from, but yeah, I mean it's like the ultimate closer of the year for a record. It's been on many a mix that I've made for many a partner, and it's always been the last song. It's just like we all say, or like you all have said so far. Yeah, totally different vibe than the rest of the record, but that's what makes it so endearing and captivating, and it almost like it almost feels strategic in a way that you don't really know what you just listened to, and it makes you want to listen to the record all over again, just to be like, am I sure I heard that correctly in the context of this record? That's already great, but it does really kick it up that extra level. So great song, great pick.
Yeah, if Dan cared about the playlist, he would have saved this so Chris could take it last, and maybe he should have taken the song 2003. That would have been a 6 starter, huh? But what can you do? Okay, let's see here. My number one pick, I am going to take the song by Internal Affairs, the song Mistakes, off the Casualty of the Core 7-inch. This is a super solid ass 7-inch. There's no filler on it. And again, I spoke on the intro. Basically all the bands that came out of Carry On were on fire right here at this time. This is Corey singing, who played guitar in Carry On. And this is a perfect, tasteful use of the scissor beat. Like these verses are so fast. And then also like what makes a song great is, Corey sings fast when it's fast on the verses, but he also knows when to like kick back. You know, like the chorus, he just wrote a chorus, like a simple chorus that's easy to sing along. He's not going like 100 miles an hour the whole song and having this fall into like just be kind of a throwaway fastcore song. You know, it's like actually really catchy. Vogel doing the second verse sounds so sick. You know, you don't ever get to hear Vogel sing on music that sounds like this. And I wish we did. You know, I wish someone would do like a side project Vogel band where he sings on stuff that sounds like this, because he sounds absolutely great. And then the breakdown on this, again, like what sets it apart from just being like a throwaway fastcore song, like, you know, first of all, that chorus. Second of all, this like end riff is very catchy. You know, it's kind of like a little, like I don't mean this in a negative way, but it's like kind of a sloppy harmonic riff, but it like comes into like a bounce beat, and it's just so perfect and sick. And the way it transitions out of like that bounce beat into like the Youth Crew toms, very fucking nice. And like another like, you know, singy type part on the end. It's a straight up perfect hardcore song. And I like this whole 7-inch, but I think this is the best song, and I needed to have it on my list. What do you think, Dan?
Got sniped. I got sniped by Zach. First pick right out the gate. So I've already sniped Austin. Zach sniped me. Yeah, this song's incredible. What I love is it starts out with Youth Crew toms for a second, and you could just imagine like nowadays if this song was going, like somebody would like, oh, I'm gonna two-step like right in front of the stage, and then it just goes fast and they would just get wall of death to oblivion. This song's so good, and you described it so perfectly in that Vogel sounds good, but then the breakdown where it breaks to just the guitar and it's doing the harmonics, but it is a little sloppy, and it just comes in with just such a stomp, like a bouncy stomp, and then it just goes to the Youth Crew toms to pull out, and it is yeah, it's a perfect hardcore song. It absolutely fucking rips. And you know, Vogel sounds hard and tough, but I don't know if anyone sounded meaner and angrier in this era than Corey on the mic. Like, and so many like just so much disdain in the vocals, always. Fucking great.
Yeah. Chris, you want to speak on this, or should I shoot at Austin?
I like this song too, but this is another one that I'm gonna hold on for now.
Oh, Chris, with an economy of words, the Super 7, I respect it. Austin, you want to speak on this, or do you want to take your number one?
Yeah, I'll speak on it. Internal Affairs, I have them on my list floating around there. Yeah, when that demo came out in 2003, it like everything post Carry On it had the Midas touch. It was just infallible. As well as the Casualty of the Core 7-inch. Like it almost, listening to this just now, it's like it gives you it kind of gives you the same impression that Our Fight by Confront does, and then it's just kind of ramped up and modernized for the era, and just, well, for the rest of eternity. It's Confront on 11. And yeah, Vogel sounds great. Great pick.
Yeah, the Confront is a great comp, because that's like a band that does a scissor beat very well when they rock it too. Austin, what's your number one?
Oh, my number one. And as I have alluded to, I'm a big fan of the pod, listen to all the episodes, and I know I'm committing a cardinal sin with my first pick, and it's a song that's not on streaming, but I got to go with it because it is my it's my top song of the year, and I'm thankful and grateful that you all had me on the pod as a guest, but normally the spot would be occupied by Clevo, and so I'm going to give him a little bit of shine for his output this year for In the Red, ERT, from their demo 2003. In the Red, it's X Committed, X 10-Yard Fight, X Coalition, I believe, Through Thick and Thin, Final Plan. It's just great, kind of the post 90s Youth Crew sound that's ramped up through a beefy filter, a la later Carry On, a la early Terror. This kind of fits right in the middle of that. So it's Youth Crew via Cleveland, and it sounds amazing. The songwriting is amazing. The song length is a perfect hardcore song. It's about a minute, if even that. Yeah, I just is anybody on this call familiar with the demo, the In the Red demo?
I remember this from the time that dude Ian was in this band, right?
Yes, Ian Courtney.
Right. So I knew him. I didn't know Clevo at the time.
Okay.
But yeah, I enjoyed this, although I don't remember it at all. And I can't spot check it because it's not on Spotify. So, Dan or Chris, you want to jump in on this?
Yeah, I loved this demo a lot. I haven't listened to it in a while just because, it's not on streaming, but I did maybe like a year or so, went back and listened to it, I think on YouTube or something. It still holds up. Like Casey's vocals sound so gnarly on this. Like it's so intense and ripping. I loved this demo when it came out. They did like an impromptu set at Posy Numbers where they played the demo songs. And I think maybe Izzy from the First Step, just their drummer wasn't there. So he just learned the songs on his Walkman and played them. Yeah, awesome band. Demo is super sick. I wish it was on streaming.
Yeah, this is an all-star band. Nate Jocham on drums too from the Final Plan. So what's up? Okay, Chris, number 1.
I'm gonna go back to Suicide File. I'm gonna take Ashcroft, even though the song was first released in 2003, I think, via the HopeCon split. But such a great song, so relevant, right now with the current just issues in this world. This is a total post 9/11 anti-war machine anthem named after the U.S. Attorney General at the time, John Ashcroft, who was an instrumental figure behind the Patriot Act and all that nonsense that came out of the tragedies of 9/11. And it's just about, there's a line in it that says you're using tragedy to advance your moral crusade. And that's really what the song is about, is people that are using tragedies like 9/11 to justify just egregious atrocities, and then using the rhetoric of you're either for us or against us. That was a very real thing in a post 9/11. When this record came out, especially, the first time when it came out in 2002, it was, people were still refusing to call French fries because France was like, yeah, maybe shouldn't bomb Afghanistan back to the Stone Ages. And, you see it happening today in how people are using rhetoric to justify genocide in Gaza and other places. You're either for us or against us. Rhetoric has kind of been replaced with even more extreme. Oh, you must be anti-Semitic if you don't think Israel has the right to bomb the shit out of Gaza. So yeah, just a super powerful, anti-war machine anthem. Very simple musically, like a staccatoed riff, the stomping hard beat. Yeah, the cadence of the vocals make it super sing-alongable. Yeah, this was my number 1. I was afraid that either Dan or Zach were going to snipe it, so I'm glad they were on train for another song.
Yeah, this is one of their best, catchiest songs. Yeah, and I don't have too much to say about da 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 da. What it boils down to. So good. This is the Suicide File. If you're going to give someone one song, this is in the running. Absolutely great band. So cool to have a band sound like this. No real hint of metal, but mid-tempo and just punk, but good lyrics. Yeah, witty. I love everything about it. This is a band that really holds up 20 years later. So that's that. Dan, what do you think about this one compared to your pick?
They're easily interchangeable for being absolutely incredible. This song is awesome. The lyrics are incredible. And the catchiness is, you can't fuck with it. It's pure catchiness, and I can say people like you is so sing-alongable. It's concocted in a lab. It's that good, It's sanitized by CGI.
Yeah, I wrote an anti-war song this year, the song Victory off the In Control 7-inch. Dan, You had a song that was Patriotic Cattle Call. Was that anti-war? So we're handling business. And Chris is right, dude. This would be very strange for younger kids to relate to, in retrospect, but it really was oh, you're not patriotic if you don't support the US going into Iraq and shit. It was pretty bunk. And yeah, fuck Ashcroft and fuck Dick Cheney and fuck Wolfowitz, fuck them all. It's a disgrace that like, these people, basically created a war out of thin air. We invaded a sovereign nation and like they still live like lives of complete privilege, including like, like the PR people around him, like David Frum, who's like enjoying like a second career as kind of a never Trump Republican type dude, and like he I don't know. It's just, these people are fucking disgraceful. And it sucks that like many of them like got a second life when like this should be the end. Like this is like the travesty. This is like where everything, like this is what got us where we are now, straight up. People that are 20 years old, like they've never lived when like the US is like not in some bullshit war. That's insane, So hey, that's that. Okay, Austin, you want to speak on this or should I shoot it back to Dan for his number 2?
This was the other Suicide File pick that would have been on either my list or in my honorable mentions. So yeah, that's 2 for 2 for those tracks. Yeah, sonically, again, if you put this in the last pick up next to each other and showed somebody that these songs are on the same record, they wouldn't believe you because they're so diametrically different. But yeah, this is the Suicide File. As someone has said before, this is them to a T. It's rockin', it's punk, it's snarling, it's witty, it's great. So yeah.
Hell yeah. Okay, Dan, number 2.
What's my name? Daniel Sant. What am I going to take? I'm going to take Intro into The Truth Hurts. In Control, Intro into The Truth Hurts. Spotify wrongly has them as 2 separate tracks. These are 2 of the biggest moshes of the year. And the thing that's fantastic, I mean, first of all, the In Control intro is just da 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 da. It's just so Clevo and like it's fucking so good. I love it so much. And then The Truth Hurts comes out and Ryan is impossible to follow along. Like he's going full HR almost, vocally. But then like the track catches up with him. And then when it breaks at the parts right before the full breakdown, you can kind of catch back up with him and sing along. And the lyrics of this are so fucking great. And then just the negative space, and then the truth hurts. And that one guitar starts, and it's just going. And the backups come in, the truth hurts, and you are moshing. Wherever you are, whoever you are, no matter what you've been exposed to, if you've never heard a hardcore song in your life, but this is put on, you're like, yo, I gotta fucking mosh. Like, I'm sorry, I have to mosh right now. They don't even know the word for what mosh is, and they're still busting a move. So, and then what I fucking love is the do, like the heavy as fuck toms hits at the end. Just, it's a fucking incredible song. And the intro is incredible, and to get these together, as you should, is, you've got to have them together. And this is fantastic.
Yeah, thank you. Good intro, and I enjoy this intro and song. I think that we broke it out because, like, I didn't want to have any song over 2 minutes on the record. That was just like opposed to what I was about at the time. Okay, I am going to take the song Terror Shock by the band Direct Control. This is off the demo. This is sick. This would be like one of the premier bands over the next few years that are playing like kind of, I don't know, maybe there was like a fast revival like at the end of the 90s with like the Life's Halts and the Tear It Ups and all this, but like this was like another wave coming, and this Direct Control demo is great. What makes them stand apart from other like throwaway fastcore bands is like they kind of have something in every song that is like a hook. For instance, like, I mean, there's a ton of shit tucked into this 1 minute fast song, right? Like it starts out with those little like bendy leads that are in just for like a a quick second, and then we're into the verse, and his vocal pattern is just so out of control. But there's this like this little touch of tunefulness, like da da ba da da ba da. Like it's so good, dude. And the chorus is actually relatively catchy, but those verses with like the little tunefulness in the singing is just what makes this so spectacular. And yeah, this band went on to do LPs and be one of those bands that like basically put out no bullshit, just a straight up awesome ass band. Austin, what do you think about this?
This band, again, being on an East Coaster, the fastcore stuff from the Bay Area and just California kind of missed me, but I would always lump this in with more of the progenitors of the No Way scene to come, maybe like 2 or 3 years later. It's Eric Montanez on guitar and Brandon Farrell. Brandon being singer of this band, drummer of Government Warning, drummer of Municipal Waste. Yeah, I mean, those Eric and Brandon were both in Government Warning. They can write a song, they can write a hook. Great band. I saw them a few times, and it was just relentless. And it was, I mean, the demo track list is 14 songs on the demo, and it feels like that's how many songs they would play live with no breaks. And yeah, it's just awesome hardcore punk, no frills, just the early USHC inspired stuff. Yeah, I mean, it's the good stuff right here.
Hell yeah. Dan, you want to touch this?
Yeah, this is just fast as fuck. And yes, the call out about how the vocals can bring a pretty, it's horrible to say generic because it's not generic, but do you know what I mean? A straightforward punk song, but it can give it some charisma and some life. And that's what this does. But, you know, this is not my ultimate lane. So, but that's what I do appreciate when the vocalist or something like that gives it that twist.
I am not a straight up fan of just bullshit fast music. You know what I mean? Like you have to be good. And this band is spectacular. The generic bands of this like genre are not what I love for sure. So yeah, everyone, there is a playlist, 185milessouth.com. Click that playlist link at the top of the page and handle business. Also, you can just find us on Spotify. Austin, what is your number 2?
As we were talking about earlier, about 2003 being the year of terror, again, from my perspective of being an East Coaster, there was another band who was kind of an insurgent to that crown via a slightly different scene. I mean, Boston in 2003, starting the year off on January 25th, 2003, their self-proclaimed establishment date of Locking Out Records. I mean, Locking Out was the hottest thing, especially at that Posse numbers that year. It was everywhere. You know, if you considered yourself cool, you were wearing a Locking Out shirt, and you wanted to be the Locking Out guys. It was unavoidable. So I got to take the song, the anthem of that era by the band of that era, and it's got to be Mental Psych. Yeah, I mean, that song, that band, that 7-inch. I mean, even the 7-inch release show, again, that like I remember getting the Locking Out zines, and although they were just, it was like a collection of inside jokes with people I had never met and probably will never meet the majority of them. It just felt like this constant hype machine for somebody who was outside of the joke. And it was just perpetual. You'd see Mental everywhere, all over the internet, online, shirts, distros, you name it. I mean, Locking Out was just, it was incredible what they were able to do, and what seemed to be so nonchalant and almost so flippant as well. It seemed, yeah, just so organic, the rise of that. And to this day, they're still a label and still doing some good records. So yeah, my pick for number 2, I got to take Mental Psych.
Yeah, respect to them for spelling psych the correct way, S-I-K-E. Dan, what is your take on this?
Love it. I absolutely love, I mean, I may be dipping into the Mental bag as part of my list. I was getting nervous when I heard Austin like kind of leading up to what his pick was going to be. This wasn't in my contention, but it is a fucking banger. I think it was actually Chris who gave me the Mental demo. That
Respect.
You know, yeah, respect to Chris. always lacing us with the music we need. Always.
That's right. To this day.
Yeah, I fucking loved it. And I had friends that would listen to it and be like, oh, it's so jokey, it's so silly. I'm like, no, this is the fucking shit we love. This is Outburst, this is Warzone, and this is like Straight Ahead, like kind of all mashed up with a little bit more leaning on the yo-y charisma of the whole thing. I am here for that. Always will be. Always will be. And that, Locking Out was on fire. I still consider them to be on fire. Like they don't miss. Like there is only good things on that label. Even the jokey things are still good.
We talked Lock It Out a ton on the 2004 episode, so check that out in those archives if you haven't listened to it already. Let's see here. Chris, you want to speak on this, or you want to take your number 2?
Yeah, I want to speak on it because this is my mental track too. I mean, I may be confusing this because this was many years ago, 21 years ago, but I think the song was on the demo. Yeah, we played the show with them in Boston. I hadn't heard of them. They just blew me away. We played this little basement place that the only thing I remember about the spot was there were a bunch of boxes of hair gel. So it was like a hair gel storage facility or something. I don't know. But yeah, they were super sick. I was pumped on them. I probably got a few demos to help spread around. And this was always my favorite track.
Hell yeah. Okay, Chris, number 2.
I'm going to go back to the Bay. I'm going to take a track from Allegiance. For me, there's 2 songs on this record that are like the anthems that I think about for Allegiance. And one is a hardcore anthem, and the other is a straight edge anthem. I think that hardcore anthem is a better written song, objectively, but I'm taking the straight edge anthem. I'm taking My Pledge. The first, third of the song is fairly disposable fast part. Really what it is just kind of like, hey, we can't go straight into this breakdown thing because we need to set some intrigue. But once that breakdown comes, and then the sing-alongs and the "Can you hear me? I said I'm fucking straight edge. That's still my fucking pledge." And then the way that I said I'm fucking straight edge is like yelled over, like all the music breaking and cutting out is just like perfect, like hardcore perfection. It's like, that's what hardcore is, right? You just like, everyone stops playing and you yell something, and that thing, when you yell it live, there's 100 kids trying to get up on top of each other's head and be louder than the music, which there is no music for that part. So it just makes it even more dynamic. But yeah, this was a super important band for me this time. We toured with them a lot. They were kind of like our younger brothers. And yeah.
They tuck a lot into this 1-minute song, right? And, Chris says that it's kind of a throwaway fast part, but it's not in the way that a song that has a short fast part and then goes into a breakdown is better than just like a mid-tempo song, generally, in my eyes.
Yeah.
Because like that tempo
Agreed.
change makes it nice. You know what I mean? So, and they do the fast part is pretty short, and the build into the breakdown is real nice. And then the breakdown is it's not generic at all. Like they do a lot of creative things in there. Like that little bass break is super nice. This is a great pick. This is good ass hardcore, dude. When you tuck this much shit into like a 1-minute straightforward root sound, like you can't fuck with it. Like this is some of the best music on the planet. Dan, what do you think about this?
I've always loved this song. This was definitely in the mix for a potential choice from me tonight, so Chris has swooped. The delivery of the Edge proclamation is just, it's top tier because it is not like anything that's come before, where there's a million straight edge anthems out there where someone has delivered something in a certain way. This is a unique take. And 8-Clip's voice is so angry as well. Really good delivery. Yeah, this break part is just, Gilman pylons upon pylons upon pylons. It's fantastic.
Dan, let's go to you for your number 3.
All right. Well, Austin and Chris are sniffing around this arena, so I am going to go Invasion by Righteous Jams. Invasion used to be this band, but now we're playing Righteous Jams. Now, if you want to talk about a fucking riff and a upbeat mosh, this is it. Just openings with everyone's favorite Youth Crew drums, and then tick, tick, and then Invasion used to be this band. Now we're playing Righteous Jams. Everything about this is so groove laden, so like sick, and just so moshy, and such charisma and such. I mean, this is just brilliant. I fucking love it.
Yeah, this whole style and era is not my favorite stuff, but like there's some pieces of it that are undeniable. And this is one of the songs, right? You know, a sub 1 minute song, starts with Youth Crew Toms, has like the hooky little guitars on the end. And yeah, I mean, like these bands were the thing, you know, for a few years, like for a reason. Like they were solid on record. They were great live. Yeah, much respect.
Righteous Jams always felt like the Mental little brother band, but then also kind of continued doing what Mental was doing so successfully when Mental kind of pivoted away from it. So they were kind of torchbearers in that sense. Good song. I don't know if I'll be sniffing around that territory for much longer. Dan, I might be going in a completely different direction. We'll see where the picks go from here, but yeah, go ahead.
Sick. Okay, for my number 3, as a tribute to Dan, I am going to do a Sant move, and I'm going to take 2 songs by Knife Fight. I'm going to take Force Fed into Knife Fight. And I mean, dude, I'm still under a minute with these 2 picks. So, and like this record, like it's very, I mean, I could have taken the first, I think 4 songs. They really flow nicely. And then we get into the cover territory. I think they do an America's Hardcore cover. Yeah, I mean, I can't do one of these songs without the other. Like this is classic shit of like, you know, you hear the end of one song, you know the next one's coming, you know, and I don't think it's too egregious because we're in under a minute. Yeah, again, like if you're looking at my list right now, you're like, oh, you know, Zach, he's a fastcore maniac, and that's really not the case. You know, you guys like know what my taste is from listening to this podcast for 5 years, but this is like some of the best stuff. And again, this is like a mean sounding fast band. John's voice is just absolutely perfect on this. The recording is both raw, but more importantly, it's bright. You know, it's like not some muffled bullshit of a band like trying to sound meaner than they are. It's just, this is what we sound like. Here it is. Take it or leave it. And I am taking it. Also, one thing that's sick about this, which makes it catchy and better than just like average fastcore type stuff, is there's a chorus on both of these songs. So like, even though I think the first song is like 20 seconds and the next one is like 30 seconds, I don't have it in front of me. Let me see here. Yeah, 23 seconds and 34 seconds. Like, dude, these are like well thought out, well crafted songs with like good ass riffs and good ass choruses. So that's wild to me that they're like doing better songwriting in like a 23-second song than a lot of bands do in like a 2-minute song. And this is 21 years ago, so step your game up, people. What's going on here? Absolutely love this. Dan, what do you think?
Well, I had both of these songs as well as one other one on my short list for choices. So you came in and swooped them. And I respect the egregious move. It's extremely egregious, but hey, who am I to complain about egregiousness? And yeah, I mean, this is giving you negative approach in a sense, and who doesn't want that? Knife Fight fucking rules.
Yeah, this is only a combined 57 seconds, people, so don't get at me. Chris, you want to speak on this, or should I send it to Austin for his number 3?
Yeah, this was sick. I think the thing to me that always makes the great fast bands stand out from, as Zach said, the bullshit fastcore bands is like the ferocity. Like this demo is ferocious. Knife Fight was a ferocious sounding.
Dude, I like the way you said it the first time. They're feroce. That's sick. And good band name, but make sure you credit Chris when you steal it. Okay, Austin, you want to speak on this, or do you want to take your number 3?
Yeah, I saw Knife Fight that summer of 2003 on the East Coast, and kind of what we alluded to earlier, the post carry-on bands having the Midas touch. I loved this 7-inch when it came out. It almost makes me think like what could have been for them if they were an East Coast band from the Mid-Atlantic, a la, you know, Richmond, and say maybe like a year or two later, I think that they would have been at the top of the pops for that whole the No Way Records, Great Mistake Records kind of scene. Kind of like wrong coast, wrong time for them. But no, I mean, I see kids nowadays who still wear Knife Fight shirts, and it's kind of crazy to see because it's like such an obscure thing. But it speaks to as a testament to how good this 7-inch is. Yeah, I couldn't recommend this enough.
Hell yeah. Okay, Austin, what is your number 3?
My number 3, speaking of Dan and him thinking I was going to stay in Boston, I'm going to go the complete opposite way as far as geography and kind of like the cool factor. I'm going to go with the band that when I first came across them and first saw them, I thought that they were aliens. And then I realized that they were from the Midwest, and that Midwest state being Iowa, not, like not Chicago, not Kansas City, not like a big city, but just middle of nowhere, Iowa. This band brought an energy that I'd never experienced before in hardcore. And as I said, I'd been going to shows for 3 or 4 years at that point. I still felt pretty new, but I knew that what I was seeing was weird and special, and it wasn't. It was just something new and something that was going to change a lot of people's opinions on what the Midwest means as far as hardcore and the export that they provide. I think you all know where I'm going with this as far as the band. This record that came out this year, it's really a dartboard record as far as, and even just thinking about songs that could qualify as any other band's closer for their record, where it's like an epic song after epic song after epic song. They have 2 songs in a row that could just as easily close their record. I'm not going with either one of those. I'm going to go with Modern Life is War and the song Late Bloomer, which is the second song on that record. And I defy anyone to find a 1-2 punch for the first and 2 songs on a record that concludes better with the second song is Late Bloomer by Modern Life is War.
I have a Modern Life is War song on my list, so I'm glad that you did not swoop it. This album, like you said, it's a dartboard record for the style. Again, not my favorite style necessarily, but this band was such a force. Yeah, I have a song off this, and this band was absolutely spectacular in the era. One of the greatest bands I've ever seen live, and some cool ass dudes that were like doing it their own way, living really in the middle of nowhere. They were all going to, I can't remember I think when we met them in 2002, they were in Marshalltown, and then they were in Iowa City or something, Iowa Falls, some shit. And we played a couple times in that area. And then also like their home away from home was Minneapolis. So like while they put on for Iowa a lot for sure, they also were like in semi-close proximity to like a bigger city. And dude, that last Holding On show, I believe that was 2003, because In Control was on tour. We played it. That was one of the craziest things I've ever seen. I mean, when Modern Life is War was playing, the crowd was like 40 rows deep, like packed tight of dudes, like packed up front to sing along. It was gnarly. And that's the only night I've ever headwalked in my life, just because like I always wanted to do it, but I never wanted to hurt my friends. And, here I was in a room where I didn't know anyone, and I was like, God damn, this is the night to do it. Yeah, I did it, and my bad for the people that I stepped on, but that shit was epic. Chris, you want to speak on this?
I'll just add special band. I remember the first time I saw them, we played 2 shows with them in, I think, Albany and then Connecticut. We were on tour with The Promise. This band I'd never heard of opened up the show and just like absolutely floored me. The next night in Connecticut, like everyone that was there, I was telling them, yo, make sure you check out this band. And then they rocked both nights, and then their singer broke his nose moshing to The Promise, like right after they were done. So I was like, hell yeah, these kids are cool.
Yeah, I mean, they were punk as hell, right? Like they were real ass dudes that got crazy. I don't know if like people get that with looking at them now and listening to the music. Like it's hard to like explain the wildness that was involved with this band at the time as well, which kind of like gets swept away with time. Dan, you want to speak on this at all?
Yeah, one thing I think about this band is that they can tap into an element where it's not contrived, but the songs become absolutely epic. It's like almost they cut their teeth listening to, just the big songs like, when like Bane do Give Blood, like those kind of epic moments, and they make their whole almost sound like that, where everything feels like the most urgent thing on the planet with all their delivery, and it just comes across. That's why there's so many diehard fans of this band.
Yeah, it's not Bane though, Dan. It's the first Tragedy record. was like the record that changed their lives. You know, so it's like Modern Life is War is going for like a Black Flag tragedy mashup. You know what I mean?
Oh, I'm not saying musically per se, because I don't think Tragedy builds on those, like, Tragedy's very blunt with the vocal thing, you know, and the builds, whereas I feel Modern Life is War is like going for that, like, this is our last moment on earth to scream.
But it's very octavey, right? So like when you're talking about 2003 and you're talking octaves, you're going either Tragedy or Bane, you know. And so I'm saying it's leaning more on the Tragedy side than the Bane side, but
Okay.
very epic like Bane as well. You're right. Like the buildups are similar, and that's hard to avoid, right? When you're doing like a, you know, an epic kind of build up band with personal lyrics. There's also a ton of AN in here. You know, Jeff's vocals are very shredded like the AN first LP. So yeah, it's kind of like a timepiece of the era, and just, I can't say it enough, like one of the most spectacular live bands there was, straight up. Okay, Chris, number 3.
All right, I'm gonna come back to IA, and I'm gonna do the inverse of what you cheating bastards did. I'm taking Waste of Time / Come Get It, which on the demo this year were 2 different tracks, but on Spotify they are inseparable. You get them together whether you like it or not, and I think they work. I think they work together really well. Because Waste of Time is just almost like a fast throwaway track, you know, but like we were saying with Allegiance, like you need it. Like you need that to make the next part dynamic. And the next part is the next song, which is Come Get It. You know, this fast, short blazer of Waste of Time ends on a ring out. And then you have snare hit, tom-tom into this hard stomper beat. With some kind of like basic guitar ring outs, you know, a la We Gotta Know intro, where the guitars just give the drums room to just be hard as hell. And then Corey coming in, do you want some? Come and get it. And then goes back into fast, a blazer fast beat. The chorus is still fast beat, but like Zach was saying earlier, like Corey can write a sing-along over a fast beat, and he does on the song too. And then like Dan was saying earlier about Corey having just like the nastiest snarl. It ends with Corey basically sounding like a baby crying almost, where he's like, "Ah!" And it's so sick.
Yeah, that's great. You know, we have a dude on the pod right now that has also done this, because Austin, Caught in a Cycle and Believe are combined into one track on your record. So inseparable. Do you want to speak on this song?
Yeah.
This 2 songs.
Yeah, these 2 songs. I feel like when I got the demo in 2003, they may have also been one track. Like, you know, like it just, they're, however the master was, they didn't have a separate. So it's kind of funny to see that in 2024, you still have to live with that inconvenience. But yeah, I had this song on my in my corral of possibles. To me, this is the Internal Affairs song. Other than I don't want to take anyone else's pick if they're going to choose another song later, but there might be another song that's more Internal Affairs than this one. But to me, this is the one that when I hear it, I'm like, yeah, this is the mission statement of this band, and it's a gnarly mission statement.
Yeah, Chris, you said it well. Like he's writing a catchy chorus here, right? Come get it, you're fucking dead. Like that's a sing along part, you know, even though it's over like a fast ass scissor beat. So yeah, hell yeah, getting all this in. They might be the MVP for the year. It's looking like. Dan, you want to speak on this, or you want to take your number 4?
Well, all I'll say is you need to get that Internal Affairs discography that came out by Bert and Aaron, and it's just essential having. Like, if you weren't around at this time, trust us, buy that discography, you're psyched.
Yeah, Dan's referring to the Internal Affairs discography that came out on Safe Inside Records. You can get that. Just Google it and handle business. It's a sick-ass discography, put together real nicely, has everything, or at least 99% of things. So, hell yeah. Dan, number 4.
All right. I'm going to keep my vibe going for the moment. I'm going to keep this awesome bouncy, moshy vibe going, and we're going over the pond to Belgium, and we're gonna go with intro / Justice from the band Justice off the demo that came out this year, but it is on Spotify, luckily. You know, we love that. And let's just talk about it. It just starts with a oh shit sample, and then it goes fast for a second, and then just launches into the sickest mosh intro. It's such a stomp. Like, the stomp is unbelievable. Then that peters out very quickly. Like, it's an intro of like maybe like 24 seconds from sample to the end of the intro. Like, that's fucking cool. And then it goes in, like, the singer goes 2, 3, justice, and it, oh man. Then another fucking great riff comes in, and then the song goes, and then just peters out again, and it's all done in I think like what, a minute 10.
Yep.
The intro plus another song, like, so good. I love it. Shout out Belgium. Shout out Kevin De Bruyne.
Yeah, this is great. Demo, 7-inch are both great. And the next thing, not so much. But what are you going to do? Yeah, this is killer. Very like Internal Affairs-y in the music, right? We're going scissor beat. We're going to some Youth Crew Toms, and we're going out. You know what I mean? It's super cool. I love this. Austin, you want to speak on this?
Yeah. I remember lurking the mullet board at the time, and I believe Greg uploaded somehow, or just in the primordial era of the internet, he embedded a video, or maybe it was just a link to a video of Justice playing, and basically just said like, yo, watch this, 7-inch coming out next year or something like that. And it was a live video of them playing this song at the Lint Fabrique, I think, in Belgium. And it was absolute pandemonium, and watching it, it was just like, what did I just see? And yeah, I might be so bold as to say that I think that Justice did the Lock and Out style as good as, if not better than, the majority of the Boston bands who were doing that. So yeah, this song rips, this demo rips. And then they came over the next year and played Positive Numbers 2004, and they smoked that as well. And yeah, that's a great pick. I'm a little jealous I don't have it on mine.
Hell yeah. Chris, you want to speak on this, or should I take my number 4?
Yeah, this is another band that I was lucky enough to catch early on. Our first Euro tour, the first show we played, they were the second band, and they were insane. And yeah, they brought so much energy. I remember at one point, Philippe, the singer, like climbed up on top of this door that was open next to the stage and stage dove off of the top of the door into the crowd. And it was so, yeah, they were sick, dude.
Hell yeah. Okay, I'm going to take let's see, what are we at? Number 4? Yeah. Okay, I'm going to take another Richmond band. Let's see, I'm going to take the band Cast Aside. The song is Set in Stone. Came out on their Overcome 7-inch. Dude, this band kicks so much ass. And it's like really my favorite style of hardcore. Like it sounds like the first Terror record. Very of the time. It's like fast, but it's like a little meaner than like what you would consider like a, I don't know, like a Posiecore type thing. I don't know. This is just like straight up fucking hardcore. Like probably in like the New York hardcore lane, if I had to say anything. What makes it stand out, like the cutouts and the verses are very like nice and precise. Going from like the fast verse to the mid-tempo chorus, and then back to the fast verse, and then not hitting the chorus again, but going into a breakdown. I love that structure of a song. Also, the singer just has a great voice for the style, and we're in and out in 90 seconds. Like this is just great, perfect hardcore. It's my favorite lane, and it's super sick. We played with them, I think, in 2003 in Virginia Beach. Actually, yeah, it had to be 2000. It might have been 2002, but it was one of those years. We played in Virginia Beach with them, and it was raining like a motherfucker. Like, sometimes it'll rain hard here in San Diego, but like it rains for like 5 minutes hard, and then it's just kind of like a steady light rain, But like when you leave Southern California, you get real weather. And like here in Virginia Beach, this shit was fucking raining like crazy for like hours on end. And like they came and the singer like rode his motorcycle to the show from Richmond. I don't know how far that is. Austin, is that like what, 2 hours? Hour and a half?
Hour and a half.
Yeah. Dude, that's fucking burly. Like, okay, so this guy's like definitely not a weekend warrior. And I was like, God damn, you rode your fucking motorcycle in that? Like, we're like questioning if we're going to drive the van in this with a trailer. You know what I mean? So much respect to them, killer ass dudes, and sick ass band. I still love the 7-inch to this day. Dan, are you familiar with this?
Oh, I had Set in Stone and Overcome on my short list. I mean, this band kind of came out of the Dead Serious, like some of the same members as Dead Serious. And Wes, I believe, is the singer's name. Just when we first went to Richmond, like he was just moshing so hard with like fucking fronts on, upper and lower fronts on, like just wrecking people. I was like, oh, that dude's fucking gnarly. And then the next year he's doing this band, and this band is epic. So, and I really liked it. I really liked the sketch style artwork on this 7-inch too by Linus. Like, you know, Linus's stuff was so everywhere and, you know, had so many skulls and stuff. But I really love the artwork to this with the wolves on it. And this is, a great pick.
Chris, you want to touch on this, or should I shoot it to Austin?
Yeah, this band was dope. Super sick live. I feel like they unfairly got lumped into kind of like after Terror, like there were a lot of bands that wanted to be Terror, and I think they got lumped into that category unfairly because I feel like they were actually around before Terror, or at least, you know, I think their first demo was 02. When did Terror start? 02?
Yeah,
so
02.
I mean, about the same time, different coasts. You know, I don't think it's probably fair that they should be categorized that way. And they certainly held their own, and I don't know, they were dope.
Dude, and like right now, can we get some more bands that sound like Terror? What's going on here?
Amen.
Yeah. Austin, do you want to speak on this, or you want to take your number 4?
I can speak on it a little bit. Cast Aside stylistically is not, of the Richmond bands of the time, they were definitely on the harder side or the heavier side than what I was leaning to. But yeah, and Dan, you were right. They came out of Dead Serious, and which begat 804 and all those people. Yeah, they're a great live band. They did a lot of touring that a lot of Richmond bands followed suit. They were kind of one of the first trailblazers to do that and kind of go out and put Richmond hardcore, like a post count me out Richmond hardcore on the map on a national scale. And yeah, I don't really have much else to add about the singer's just his disposition. He reminded me of the Mountain from Game of Thrones, just probably the most intimidating, hulking figure hardcore had to offer in the era. And yeah, it really brought the whole live experience just all together. It's just like, man, that is one scary motherfucker. So yeah, great pick. Let's see, we're on to mine. Going in a different direction. I'm going with a subjective pick of mine and just a band that means a lot to me. I don't know if they're going to be on other lists, but this is a band that when I, again, at this time, I had my first band and we were just starting out, and we ended up running into this band who played a show kind of out in the sticks of Virginia, kind of out where I'm from, which was weird. They're a DC band. And we befriended these guys, and they just became so intertwined with my life in various stages of it that I don't know where I would be without this band existing and kind of helping me just along the way for almost 2 decades now. And yeah, and various members of this band have gone on to do various other things, and very eclectic group of people. I'm going with Worn Thin, and the song is Here's the Door, off the remnants of what could have been 7-inch on Youngblood. Like I said, like Carlos was the first person in the band who really he befriended us, and he's considerably older than I am, but felt like he kind of took me and my friends under his wing and really kind of gave us a home away from home up in DC and introduced us to the scene, and just kind of made it cool for us to just meet people up there. And we really felt comfortable with him. And then Alex, he ended up putting out my band, which was called The Frontline. He put out our 7-inch on Grave Mistake Records. It was an early release for him. And then even up until the past 2 years, the drummer, Sean, was my realtor when I was living in Richmond, trying to find a house in a ever competitive and very futile feeling market. So yeah, like for various stages of my life, that band has meant a lot to me. Plus, not to mention, like Tad, if I ever were to get a tattoo, he'd be the one I would hit up. He's also just an amazing friend, and he's done amazing things for DC hardcore as far as making it what it is today and chased out a lot of nonsense throughout the years. And Brad is just an amazing guitar player, amazing guy. He's in Trapped Under Ice now. He's also in a new band coming out called Face the Pain that I'm jealous I'm not in. So yeah, all 5 of them to a person I adore and love to this day.
And shout out anytime things from Youngblood are on streaming. What's up? Chris, you want to speak on this?
Yeah, this is not a record I listened to a ton, but it was cool. I think I gravitated more to like some of the stuff that those dudes did afterwards, like Set to Explode and TUI and stuff. But this was cool. Like it was certainly like, I haven't listened to it in a long time, but it was good, fast hardcore that had skateboarding imagery, and I was into that for sure.
Dan, you want to speak on this, or should I shoot it to Chris for his number 4?
I just think this is a great pick, and I think musically this was a very interesting band for the peers that they were, and around what other bands were around them at the time. And I do think that this is I love the aspect of this song that is like the call and the response between the two different vocal styles. It's a banger.
All right, Chris, let's go to you for your number 4.
I'm going to go to the Great White North. I'm going up to Canada. I'm going to take a Career Suicide song, and I've been going back and forth between Quarantined and Sucker, and I'm going with Sucker because Quarantined, while it's like a total anthem, it's a bit on the long side. It's like 3+ minutes, I think, and Sucker's just such a rager. The way that they're laid out on the 7-inch is cool because like Quarantine's kind of like a mid-tempo banger, and then Sucker comes in, and it's like the first like 13 seconds of it are like a mid-tempo rock steady beat. It's almost like they're like, yeah, we're just a mid-tempo band. And then like 13 seconds into their second song, they're like, nah, just kidding. And they bust into this like blazing fast, 1.5 minute ripper, 1:22, actually. And it's just such a snotty sounding fast punk. It's hardcore, but it's as punk as you can get and still be a hardcore band, I feel like. I don't know. Career Suicide is a band that I only kind of recently got into within the last, like, I don't know, 8 or so years. When they were, were in their prime, they weren't really on my radar. Like, I'd heard about them, but I just didn't give them a chance until recent years. And now I've really grown to love them.
Yeah, it's a great pick. Another band kind of like Direct Control, where like the same way like Stop and Think would be like the precursor to like Locking Out, like this Direct Control, this Career Suicide is like the precursor, just right before like that whole No Way type scene is breaking out. So yeah, this is a great pick, and it's sick. Good to have Canada on the playlist. Dan, are you familiar with this stuff?
Yes, Quarantined would be my choice. So it's interesting, but this song Sucker, you could play it to most people, maybe not Bedge, but you could play it to most people and say, hey, this is an undiscovered circle jerk song, and it could go over, like, for real. It's so snotty and so circle jerksy. I don't know, I really like it.
Austin, do you want to touch this, or should I shoot it to Dan for his number 5?
This era of Career Suicide kind of went over my head, or it escaped me in the time. I was much more familiar with their kind of No Way era, and to kind of tie those all together, Brandon from Direct Control played drums on that record, which is phenomenal. So that's more what I'm familiar with. I've heard it before, and it's all, I mean, Career Suicide is truly one of Canada's greatest punk exports, I think. So can't really go wrong with them. So yeah, it's a great pick. I'm just not super familiar with it.
Hell yeah. Okay, Dan, number 5.
I'm going to go with No One Dies Alone by Ringworm off the Ringworm Terror split. Now, it's you couldn't put like Terror, and this is Terror like 03 Terror like top of the universe, right? You couldn't put them on a split with anyone and they wouldn't, body them. But I think Ringworm gets them on this split, to be honest. This song is so hard. Human Furnace's voice is maybe like, I don't know, that's arguable. There's so many amazing tracks that they could do, but just the epic nature of this song is incredible, and it's just like an ode to death, and it's Ringworm personified. It's like an absolute banger of a song, and the recording is fantastic, and it's 2 minutes 20 seconds or around that, and you want more. You like, give me another 2 minutes, please, to the gods of Cleveland, give me another 2 minutes of this. I absolutely love it. What do you think?
It's a great pick. Ringworm came back in the year 2001 with that Birth is Pain LP, which was great. It's like their first LP in whatever 8-9 years, whatever it was since The Promise. And it was like, goddamn, they're back. And this was also like in a time when, Integrity was kind of like down and out. So like that overlap was kind of nice. What was that Integrity comeback record, Dan?
To Die For.
Yeah, that might have been around this era, I think.
That's this year. Yeah.
Okay, so like
Jochems.
That's in 2003?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so that's a comeback, and some people like that. I don't love it, but like, yeah, so like in that early 2000s, like Integrity was kind of down and out, and it was sick to have like Ringworm kind of like carrying that flag until, Integrity has a resurgence, and now, they're just killing it again. This song is great. They redid it for their LP that came out a couple years later, which is pretty sick. Like, the song is sick when you're going to like tuck it into the 2 slot on like your LP that comes out 2 years later. This is a great pick. And this was a great split 7-inch. And I might, if it's there, that first Terror song's great too. So this thing rips, and great pick. I think I've taken Ringworm every single year that they've been available on these Super 7s that we've done. And this will be the year that I don't get them. So respect, Dan.
That first Terror song is so good, but it's not on streaming, so I didn't go that way. The version on the LP that you reference is on streaming from this split. It's not the split recording, I bet, but the song's there, so it can be on the list, Yeah.
It's on the second Terror LP, so it's on streaming, just not the version. You're right. Okay.
Oh no, I was talking about Ringworm, but yeah.
Oh well, same with the Terror.
Okay.
So the Terror song is on the second Terror LP also. Okay, I'm going to take my number 5. I'm going to take the song For My Enemies by Madball. This was wild. So this was a Madball comeback also, right? So Madball puts out one of the greatest hardcore LPs of all time in the year 2000, and then they abruptly break up. They didn't tour or anything off that record, and it was a fucking bummer. You know what I mean? Like, they're like my favorite hardcore band, and it's like, my favorite band puts out like their 4th LP. It might be their best one ever. And then they break up, and it's like, you don't know what's going to happen. Like, hardcore bands break up all the time. You don't know if they're ever going to come back. And this was them coming back, and like, kind of regardless what was on this record, it was so special because it's like, here's one of these like straight up legacy acts, like getting back together, and we're going to get to see them play all the classics again. But then also there's a few things here. Like, first of all, the 7-inch is pretty good. Second of all, Steve Martyr put it out, who put out like the In Control vinyl this year too. So I got a test press. What's up? Thank you, Steve. But yeah, this song is sick. It's a good mid-tempo song. The lyrics are absolutely great. The chorus is like an all-time Madball classic. That pre-chorus is like almost too tuneful, but it sets up the chorus so nicely. Is it a Hold It Down Part 2? No, but like, Madball's back, and this is a dope-ass song. It's a staple of their set list, And hell yeah, I was just so glad to have Madball back, and I'm so glad they never went away. They're one of my favorite bands ever. And, you know, I saw them this year, or maybe the end of last year, just still excellent, top-notch hardcore band. Everything that's great about this like genre of music that we love so much. So much respect. Dan, what do you think?
Well, I mean, you swooped me again because this was on my short list. It sounds like it is almost in the same recording as Hold It Down. Like, it's that same level of songwriting. It's that same like amazing recording, and it's the same level of aggressive bounce that is perfected on that LP that we're talking about, and it's still right here in this song. That song easily can slide onto Hold It Down and be a standout. I love this song.
Chris, you want to speak on this, or should I shoot it to Austin?
Just a classic, like a modern-ish classic for Madball, but like you said, like it's in their set still to this day.
Hell yeah. Austin, you want to speak on this, or do you want to take your number 5?
I'll speak. I know this was a comeback record for them. It was also a year that they started playing shows again, and I just remember there was such hype around the reunions. I caught it in Richmond, and it was everything. I'd never seen them before the breakup, and I finally got my chance, and it was everything I thought it would be. So, yeah, Madball rocks, man.
So sick. Okay, number 5.
I'm going to go with another kind of subjective pick, but objective as well. In 2003, like we said, a lot of things happened. A lot of bands broke up. A lot of bands get back together. One of the bands that broke up, well, quote unquote, broke up, was The First Step. They went on a hiatus for a couple months, and it really kind of felt like at that time, with a couple of exceptions, that band, who was really like the torchbearer of the strain of hardcore I was really into at the time, seemed to wane a little bit. But a couple months fast forward, and all of a sudden this demo drops by members of their crew who dropped this demo, and it's, you know, it's what I want. It's bread and butter, straight edge hardcore, with great lyrics as well. And it was a really interesting kind of way to go about releasing a demo. I remember the singer John was like, "Hey, anybody who wants demos, just email me and I'll send you them for free. I'll just send you tapes in the mail." And at first you think it's kind of a joke. You give him the address, and then not only would he send a tape, but he would send a brick of tapes, probably like 10 to 15, unprovoked, and just said, you know, "Hey, here's a bunch of tapes. Just hand them out to whoever you see who you think would like it." A style I'd never seen before, and it kind of set up what a band that John would do down the line called Give would do, as far as being the altruistic, very involved with the fan base kind of band. So I'm going with Breakthrough and the song Times Like These. It's just a great song about hardcore, and the line, "I'll waste my life chasing times like these," basically just encapsulating what some people consider a waste of time to be involved in this hardcore thing, to others, but to us, it really is everything that we live for and everything that we continue to live for.
Chris, are you familiar with this at all?
Yeah, this was cool. I haven't listened to it in many years. Is it on Spotify, Austin?
Oh,
do you know?
That could also be a non-streaming pick.
Okay.
You want me to go?
Yeah, this was a cool demo. Like I said, I haven't listened to it in many years, but John was in just the style of that era, a close internet friend, an AIM messenger friend.
Yeah. Shout out to Shining Life Press. What's up? Okay, let's go on to Chris for your number 5.
I'm going to keep it in Canada. I'm going to go with Comeback Kid. This is, I'm going to take All in a Year, which is the opening track off of their first LP. They really kind of hit their stride with the next record, but like even when this came out, it was just like, I don't know, it was something very refreshing about it. Like it had all these dark melodies, but it sounded so crisp and chunky at the same time. And like those dark melodies kind of became oversaturated by like, I don't know, 5 years later, something like that. But like at this time, they were super refreshing and the vibe just felt so fresh. And particularly, you know, coupled with Scott's vocals, which were really bright. It was kind of what made this band unique, I think. You know, lots of fast, lots of melodic like octaves and stuff, and then just like total ass beater breakdowns where like Andrew will sing over them. And Andrew is who would eventually become the singer, but at this time played guitar and was the singer of Figure 4. But yeah, this song was an epic, had like a big, huge sing along over this ass beater part. On with my life. Yeah, just a awesome band, great group of people, and we played a lot of shows with them and always enjoyed like our time with them, and was a super important band for me.
Austin, you want to speak on this at all?
Yeah, I'll speak. At the time, I was really into this record. It was modern. It kind of blended everything that was going on in the moment into one concise package, and great songwriting. It got a little too metalcore at times, or metallic, I should say, not metallic hardcore for what I was into, but it was kind of like at that threshold where I could tolerate it. Yeah, I can't say I'm familiar with anything else that they've really done after that. But this record is great. I have a song on my short list as well, a different song from this record. But yeah, I think that they were just they were a cool band. It was a great. They kind of hit at the right moment, and it was, as Chris said, kind of refreshing considering the metalcore that I was familiar with in going to Hellfest the year before. And seeing that, it's like, oh, this is kind of like hardcore. That this feels way more familiar. So it almost felt like it was okay to listen to it.
They were hype as hell in 2003. We played a handful of shows across the South with them and Bane. I believe that was in September of 2003, and they were hype as fuck. And a lot of that was because there was a shit ton of Christian kids that loved them. And there's some like revisionist history now, I believe by the band themselves, of talking about like when they stopped being a Christian band. They were a full-on Christian band in 2003, like straight up, dude. Because we were on tour and we tried to get on one of their shows in Boise, Idaho, I believe, somewhere in Idaho, because we had a day off between Salt Lake and Seattle, and we could not get on the show because we were not a Christian band. So I don't know, like it's just hard for me to take a band seriously that's a Christian band, because that shit is like bullshit, bizarro hardcore, like in my opinion. Like if you're playing shows that like non-Christian bands can't play, like I don't know what the fuck that is, and I still don't know what it is.
Label too, right?
Yeah, I don't even know. Chris, were they on a Christian label too?
Yeah, so they were not a Christian band, but they were just Christian dudes that weren't singing about it. But yeah, they were. Their first record was on Face Down.
I mean, if you're playing shows that like non-Christian bands can't get on, you're a Christian band, straight up. So like, I don't know. Like, again, they were nice dudes and people love them and I respect them because like they tour like motherfuckers still to this day. And like, they're not about that anymore, but like they were at this time, straight up, and I was there. I'm the source. Dan, you got a opinion on this?
I never gave them a chance because of them being a Christian band. So that's maybe ignorant on my behalf, but there was so much. Well, Face Down Records was just down the road, and we definitely saw, oh yeah, we can play your secular shows, but you can't play our other shows, and like fuck that shit. So I've always had a stick in my craw for the Geezoids. So no disrespect to them. I know so many people that love this band, but this ain't for me.
Yeah, I mean, like that is like my bias, right? That I think like that because like I'm telling you on those shows, like they were smoking like through that handful of shows. Like we played with them throughout Texas, and I think we played Arizona, Texas, and Atlanta. Maybe they were killing it. Like people loved them, and people love them to this day. I was at one of their shows, I believe last year, and they headlined, and they're still killing it. So that's cool. But Christian hardcore is sorry, and you know what? All religious hardcore is sorry. So that's that. You're not getting a pass, Krishna people. What's up? Okay, let's see here. Dan, number 6.
So I think you and I were confused about what I was saying earlier. I was saying I didn't think, for some reason, I didn't think the Terror song that I did want to take was on there because I was getting confused because on the 7-inch it's referred to as Out of My Way, but on the LP. It's out of my face. So I was just trying to find it on streaming, and it was like but I was like, I know these are the same songs. So I'm taking it. Like it's a Terror top fiver. And if you're in the top 5 of Terror songs, then you're in the top 20 of hardcore songs, like for real. And if you start this way, fuck everything and everybody, hypocrites and all the fakes, leeches. It's just so amazing the way this song starts. And then it's an epic throughout. Like you'll think like you're in the breakdown, but yet there's 2 more breakdowns to come. It's so good. And there's even that like up rock part before the last breakdown where it's like almost like an ascension, and then it goes into another break, and it's masterful. Like, this is masterful hardcore. I absolutely I fucking love this. Like it's an all-timer.
Yeah, the MVP of the song is those 2 kick drum hits. Like when that big riff comes in, it goes da 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 doom doom da 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 doom doom da. So good, dude. Yeah, this is a great ass song. It had to be on the playlist. I was taking it next if Dan didn't swoop it. I am gonna take the title track off the All Out War LP, Condemned to Suffer. This is like another comeback. I think that they did a 5-year break in between For Those Who Were Crucified, which came out in 98, and this, and like, they're coming back strong, dude. This is in the 2 slot of the record, and they just come out the gate with like that palm muting that goes along with the double kick. It leads into like that big sing-along section on the beginning, like the Condemned to Suffer. And then it just quickly moves on from that to like this gallopy riff. And then when the verse kicks in on that, it is so sick, dude. And then also the mosh that it hits off that like gallopy riff, where it's like that kind of Slayer-esque guitar riff and the drums are on the China. It's like, god damn, dude, straight up kill part. This is like really a mini opus. It's 3.5 minutes, but like they dance between all these different tempos that like nothing overstays its welcome, and the song doesn't overstay its welcome at all. And the songwriting is just so superb because it's all building up to like that final like pylon sequence, the We All Shall Burn. It's just so sick. I love when like heavy moshy type bands have like the big sing-alongs too. 25 to Life had them. Here It Is with All Out War having them. And like, it's just sick that like a band's not all about the mosh. It's about like those pylon parts too, which are like a giant part of hardcore, and something that is missing a lot when like, you see all the bands with like the bigger mosh parts, and like there are these just like embarrassing fucking horseshoes. You know what I mean? It's like there's a big piece of hardcore is lost when like, the singer is not like sharing the mic with people. So, Chris, did you play with All Out War at all in this time? They were pretty active, and so were you.
I don't remember if we ever played with them, but I've definitely seen them a ton. Like, anytime they would come through, they were always awesome.
I think I'm on an island with this.
No, this is good, dude. Like, I will more often than not go back to the other record, but like this one bangs too. And like, this song's like it could be on Metallica Kill 'Em All if it didn't sound so good. Like just like the fast, like galloping, onslaught. It just is like, the soundtrack to an invasion or something. I don't know.
Hell yeah. Okay, Austin, let's go to you for your number 6.
All right. Well, I was also going to say, you're not quite alone on the island. All Out War, I'm a latecomer to them, but I love All Out War, and I'm actually not familiar with this record, so I'll give it a listen tomorrow, actually.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, I'm going to keep it going. I'm going to try and take a pick, be a little more, revisit the strategy. I know you were sniffing around the region a couple picks ago, but I'm going to pick another one that is both subjective and objective. Just a band that is comprised of friends who did a lot for me and looked out for me and my friends, and who eventually ended up taking over the world. And while being a straight edge hardcore band, this is kind of the start of the band that we would come to know. They they had a few iterations earlier on, but they really found their sound on this record. And my pick is "What Goes Around" by Down to Nothing. It's just a great album closer, although I don't think it's quite the closer on the album. I remember seeing them live around this time, and they would end with it, and it would just be huge pylons from, especially in Richmond. I mean, seeing Down to Nothing in Richmond, there are few bands that have such a hometown draw and kind of a charisma to them than them. And yeah, it's just great hardcore. So yeah, anybody else familiar with this record? It seemed like, I'm not sure if it was on Thorpe or what record it came out on or what label it came out on, but it seems like
Dead by 23, maybe?
See, I don't know. It's like it didn't get great distribution, and I feel like the vinyl was delayed, so it could have just been CD only. It seems like their later stuff, they popped a little, it popped a little bigger for them, but this is kind of where my interest and my infatuation with them starts.
The first 7 inches on Dead by 23 came out in 2002. This is the first full length, came out on Thorpe Records in 2003, CD only. It got it got pressed by Last Anthem, which is probably a Euro label, the same year. Or I don't know what it is. I don't know why I said it's probably a Euro label, but it's on a label called Last Anthem.
It's Virginia Beach or Norfolk, one of those 7 cities places. Okay. But yeah, again, another kind of small, obscure label.
Yeah, I liked this record a lot too when it came out. I feel like, I think Austin touched on this, but like they would kind of like evolve their sound a little bit and become something a little bit different that was more definitively them. But like this record was really cool. The artwork was awesome. My track on here that I always loved was Save It for the Birds. But yeah, I love this band, and they were always awesome live.
Okay. Dan, let's go to you Chris, let's go to you for your number 6.
I'm going to keep it in Canada.
Oh.
And I'm going to keep it a Christian band. I'm going to go with Fucked Up. No, I'm going Fucked Up, not a Christian band. I'm taking Baiting from the Baiting the Public 7-inch. We talk a lot about Face-to-Face Disconnect, but I think Fucked Up re-released the song a few times, or at least I don't know if it's re-recorded and they put it on a bunch of stuff, but this is on a few different things. On Spotify, like for the playlist, it's called Baiting the Public 1 from Epic in Minutes. I'm not sure if it's the same recording or not, but I don't know. This is just this killer rocksteady song. The chorus is so catchy. I don't like the world today. Gonna rebuild it my own way. And then like the Baiting Out the Public sing along at the end. I don't know. This is another band that I wasn't really into them when they were a band, and probably when they're a band, they're still a band, but I wasn't into them back then when this came out. And then a few years later, my roommate was listening to it, and I was like, "What is this? Like, this is sick." He's like, "Oh, this is Fucked Up," and I was like, "Oh, that's what that band sounds like. I really like this." Kind of funny, but yeah, this is one of Fucked Up's hits, I think. At least it is in my eyes. But Baiting.
Okay, Dan, let's hit the heartbreak round. What is your number 7?
Okay, number 7 for me. I'm gonna. Oh God. Well, this is truly a heartbreaker. I've got a million things. Do I do something ridiculous? Because Chris just took Fucked Up. I had Police as a short one, so I'm not gonna go there. Do you know what? Fuck it. This is. I'm sorry, everyone. This is a lot of fucking bullshit. I've got so many songs, and I don't know where to go. I should have been thinking about this, but I was listening to you all wax poetic on Down to Nothing because I loved that pick. I was gonna go with something, but you know what? I will say, since it's still there, I'm going Over My Dead Body, Anchors Aweigh.
Not going to take the United States Navy band singing Anchors Aweigh live in 2003, huh?
Oh, that's available? I may have done that, but the reason I'm going to take this is a very important song to me. Like, this was one of those songs, like, when I was done with writing it, I thought most of the time I've never thought like, oh, that's good or that's, blah, blah, blah. But when I was done writing this song, I thought I have put together what I think about when I think about straight edge hardcore. I've put together my thoughts on it and the heart involved with it, because I have a very, I've never done drugs, I've never drank, and that's easy to say to be straight edge that way. But I do know what a compulsive personality and what an addictive personality I have. Look how many shoes I have. Look how many records I have. Look how many stupid jumpers I have that I love. Like, look at all these things. Like, if I was into drugs, drinking, or alcohol, and drinking has run rampant in my family, and it's plain to see, straight edge saved me, and I wanted to write a song about, and it saved me before I even fell into any traps. I wanted to write a song about, this is for the kids that stay this way, because it's doing what's right for them. So I'm going to take this song, since it was still there, you motherfuckers. No, just kidding. I'm going to take this song because it means an awful lot to me.
Well, Dan swooped my number 7, so what are you going to do?
Yeah, right.
Dude,
I was.
It's a good ass song, and it's a bold ass move putting like a pussy song in the 2 slot. It's very like emotional. But then it's like, it's strange because it's like pretty hard, although pretty emotional too. Kind of the era, right? Like not so dissimilar than like Modern Life is War, kind of, this song. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like octaves are definitely the sound of the day around that time, and this song like definitely taps into that. But I feel, I suppose the emotional aspect of it is like, if something's really heartfelt, it's going to kind of come across that way, perhaps.
The verses are very like emotional, and then the choruses are a little harder, but also heartfelt. And yeah, you tap into something really good. Like these are good ass catchy choruses for sure. So I think you knocked it out of the park with this song. There's a lot of melody tucked into this record, really. So and you do think it's a better record than the first one, right? It's more concise.
I think it's a better output. It still could have been trimmed by 3 songs, to be a really, really good LP, but I do think it's better than Rusty Medals. Although there are some tracks on there, perhaps.
Yeah, there's great songs on there. So we're going too long, so this isn't the time to go into it, but we'll talk another podcast. I think that like, even though we were on a label that never really like put us in constraints and so forth, like there was like an unspoken constraint of the era that you had to make your records a certain length to make them worth like whatever people were buying them for on CD. And like, that's really one of the greatest things about the digital era is like, no one's really like, they're not shackled by that like constraint. Like, The Truth Hurts, we went and recorded more songs so that like record could be like long enough or whatever, you know what I mean? Like, and I don't know if that was like a pressure put on us or if it was a pressure we put on ourselves or what that was. But like, that's a thing that kind of sucks about this era. And like almost every single band has that, like all the records are too long. And it's because like music is fully physical at this time. Everyone's buying CDs. Labels are selling a lot of CDs. And like, I don't know, it hurts. Like almost every single record of this era would be better off if like 4 songs were cut.
Yeah, absolutely. It was definitely a spoken and unspoken thing at the time that, this has to be, it can't be less than half an hour or 20 minutes or whatever, because it has to charge this amount of money. I think it is with distributors, because then they would knock it down to an EP and then it would be considered an EP price. And I think there was a little thing from labels where they were like, well, it needs to have this many songs or something along that line.
Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, this is killer. This song rips. And I think it's great placement in the record and flows nicely into Broken Backs, Dan, which I would have taken, but that's an O2 song, so that'll make my O2 list. Chris, you want to touch on this at all, or should I take my final pick?
Yeah, I'll just say real quick, it was in my top 10, just outside the top 10, but I had either Anchors Away or Dead Alive, which is also an awesome track.
All right. There is a Kill Your Idol song that I love so much called Thanks. It's not on Spotify. I hold true to the Spotify non-rule. I just like to have the songs on there so people can listen to them. I would have taken that as my number 7 because Dan swooped my number 7. So let's see here what I'm going to take. Fuck it, dude. I'm taking 25 to Life, Haters. There's 2 final great 25 to Life songs. They come out this year. It's Haters and it's Fight Dirty. This is not the Marshmello, like almost falling off the stick. This is like the Marshmello in the air falling off the stick, like inches from the fire. Like he has gone full wild man here. He's doing every ridiculous voice there is. There's like a stripper metal, like sing along part where he sings Haters. You know, like this song is just so ridiculous. But you know what, dude? I didn't like Disclose the first time I heard him either. You know what I mean? Like sometimes you just got to be a straight up wild man, and sometimes you hit and sometimes you don't. And, you know, really post Strength or Unity, 25 to Life like fell off pretty big. But there are gems here and there. There's gems off the LP. And these 2 songs are great. And they're 2003. And I think they're the 2 final great 25 to Life songs. Fight Dirty is maybe better, and that's Chris's namesake song. But Haters is just so ridiculous. I'm going to toss it on the list to bum everyone out. And that's that. Okay, let's go on to Austin. What is your number 7?
I have a couple. I mean, Heartbreak Round. I see why now. I still have a list of about 15 songs that I could easily pick. But again, for a year that seemed to be so fallow in output, I'm having a hard time kind of parsing it down. But I'm going to go with my gut. And I doubt anybody's going to have this song on their list. I was going to go with the Face the Enemy song, but I'm scratching that at the last minute. I'm going to go with my heart because I've been listening to this record a lot over the past week for this getting ready for this exercise. And I'm going with Far From Breaking. I'm going with the song Identity. I think this band, not only is it just another Youngblood release, shout out Sean. It was such a cool record of the era. It was well thought out youth crew, but it wasn't to the point where, you know, you're kind of delving into the thinking man's youth crew, like with youth going towards like, you know, the pejorative amazing core territory. It was just firmly straight edge hardcore with great riffs, great song lengths, great song structures, great lyrics, great performances. And just the story of that band is so interesting to me because they ended that one band of the Incarnation and then they form into Iron Age and, you know, arguably changed the face of hardcore up until now, and just the ripples that they caused from that one collection of people is just so inspiring and so cool. So yeah, and plus the record layout just looks really awesome. Just that color blue really goes with the music and the vibe. So yeah, I'm going with Far From Breaking and the song Identity off of the Identity 7-inch.
Dude, I love this pick. We played with this band a million times, and they were always super cool dudes. Played with them really everywhere over the country because they were very active, and they always looked out for us when we rolled through Texas, and that's sick, dude. So I was absolutely stoked when Iron Age came out, and it's like, damn, these fools are doing something different, but it's like on point. And Costa Struggle is like still one of my favorite records. I'm always stoked whenever I see Jason doing something new, and I think he does Eternal Champion now. Is that right, Austin?
Yeah, he does Eternal Champion with my buddy Connor, who's also in a band that I did on Youngblood. Shout out Connor. It's just like you said, anything that Jason does is interesting and provocative, and yeah, he's just got it.
Yeah, so sick. And like this is about as stripped down and of a style, like in a time when it wasn't cool, still doing it pretty well, and putting on live. So hell yeah. Chris, what do you think about this?
Yeah, I just want to hit what you were saying about like doing it at a time when it wasn't necessarily cool, because I think there were people that loved it and were craving it, but because it wasn't cool, they weren't getting it, right? And so like when Far From Breaking played Posy Numbers, I remember just like instantly there was so much like hype on like the Rev board, because everyone, like the Rev board was kind of the place where people hung out that were craving that style still. And I feel like maybe to a lesser degree, it's almost kind of like that era's equivalency of like that tsunami video getting out, and like the people that were craving that style of hardcore saw that video of Tsunami and there was just all this buzz instantly. I feel like that similar kind of thing happened, although there wasn't a video, so it wasn't as tangible, but like everyone was talking about this band coming out of Posse Numbers, and it was really cool to see a lot of hype around them, and also the Snobs too, from two bands from Texas kind of like breaking out on the East Coast was really cool to see.
Okay, Chris, Heartbreak Round.
So I was hoping that you guys would snipe me on one, because my 7 and 8 are like neck and neck, and they're both Northwest bands. So this is truly heartbreaking for me. I'm gonna keep it in Canada. Sorry, Pettibone. First one out is gonna be Hymns to Track Dominion, but I'm going with Go It Alone, the song Our Mistakes. When Lucas was playing drums in Carry On, and I don't know if he got kicked out or quit or whatever happened, after he left that band, he basically started a new, like his version of Carry On in BC with some friends, and that's kind of how they originally started, and they would kind of like, you know, find their own sound and get to a place where they were really one of their own things. But this is Go It Alone is probably, you know, when you think about this era, one of those bands that's like, they're definitely a cult classic band. You know, they're not the biggest band in the world that everyone jocks, but like people that love them think they're the greatest band in the world ever. And they were just so similar to Modern Life is War. They were just so intense live. And I don't know. The song Our Mistakes is, I think, maybe one of their earliest kind of like explorations into the sound that they would kind of later embrace more fully, like kind of distancing themselves a little bit from like Carry On 2.0 and more into like this really emotional, intense, a lot of mid-tempo stomping. And this is a big mid-tempo stomper. A lot of really good, passionate lines in here. The chorus, trust me, you don't want to know what's behind these eyes, so turn your head away. The breakdown has this huge sing-along with lyrics that say, we all have stories we'll never tell. We all have secrets we'll take to our graves, because no matter how hard we try, nothing will change our mistakes. And they're just, I don't know, there was something super passionate about them. Like their singer would just get so emotionally invested in their sets that after they're done, like you kind of had to give him a minute. Like he wasn't one of those people you could go up and be like, hey, awesome set. And he'd be like, oh, thank you so much. Like he kind of had to like decompress a little bit before he could be a functioning conversational human. But that's just like the power of like how much the words that he was screaming at the top of his lungs meant to him. And I don't know, there was something truly special about them.
Hell yeah. Shout out to Go It Alone. We're so far over. We got to go quickly into the honorable mentions. I got Over My Dead Body, Dead Alive, because Dan swooped on Anchors Away. Donnybrook, Technologic Kill. Wolf Brigade, Paper Cuts, Allegiance, The Shot, Dump Truck, Sucker Punched. I didn't take that because I took the wrong side version in the 2004 Super 7. E-Town Concrete, Baptism, Kill Your Idols, Thanks, Hatebreed, Choose or Be Chosen, Hoods, Bastard, Disclose, The Aspects of War. The other two songs that came out on that 7-inch that came out on the final LP in 04. And 25 to Life, Fight Dirty, 6'2", What You Gonna Do? What's up, Mighty Posse Chris? What is your honorable mentions?
In Control, the two songs that I was debating were The Tooth Hurts or Know It All. Over My Dead Body, I already mentioned the two that I was looking at. Stand and Fight, I Won't Break. What an awesome song when that came out. And I forgot to mention my 8th track was Himsa's Dominion. First loser. First to lose. Dude, AFI, the Sing the Sorrow record is so good start to finish, but I feel like it's so... like it's just like such high level throughout that it's hard to pick a track. The Violent Mind 7-inch, Think I Care, Look Back and Laugh, Cold Sweat, Severed Tie LP. I probably would have picked a track from that if it was on Spotify. Blue Monday, War Wounds, Donnybrook, Integrity to Die For, The Distance, Some Kind of Hate. The Answer 7-inch came out this year. That On the Rise track that had Aaron Knuckles on it, Dawn of a Millennium. What a catchy song. I could go on here, but I won't.
Dan, honorable mentions.
Scream and Shout, Righteous Jam, Sworn Enemy, As Real as It Gets, Sworn Enemy, Sick Life, Knuckle Dust, Behind These Eyes, Knuckle Dust, Twilight, Suicide File, AEIOU, American Nightmare, Love American, American Nightmare. That was very almost on the list. Desperate Fight, Justice. Now, these two songs, I really want them on my list too. 16 Years by In Control, Once Upon a Town by In Control. What Have You Done? Knife Fight. History 101, Mental. Respect, Mental. Casualty of the Core, Internal Affairs. Broken Neck, Think I Care. 28 Visions, Think I Care. Punk is Forever, Find Him and Kill Him. We Hate You, No Turning Back. Web of Lies, No Turning Back. For My Enemies, Madball. Tightrope, Madball. My Rage, Madball. Nothing to Lose, Terror. House of Hell, Ringworm. Set in Stone, Cast Aside, The War Goes On, Embrace Today, City of Hope, The Damage Done, No Dice, Allegiance, Police, Fucked Up, Dance of Death, Fucked Up, Baptism, E-Town Concrete, Believe It or Not, I've Been Converted, Quarantined, Career Suicide, What Goes Around Comes Around, Down to Nothing, Save It for the Birds, Down to Nothing, The Bonds We Built, Far From Breaking, Identity, Far From Breaking. That was my short list.
Okay, I'm switching my number 7 pick to Sworn Enemy, As Real as It Gets. I did not realize that was from this year. Sorry, 25 to Life.
Dude,
what are you going to do?
Same.
What are you going to do? Shout out Sworn Enemy. That song rips. Thank you, Daniel. Okay.
That's a Crush All Wait's favorite when that comes on.
Dude,
you just love pissing on graves.
Dude, they put out like a 3-song promo for that record when that came out, and all 3 songs were like the best 3 songs of that record. It was so good. I've listened to it a million times. Okay, Dan, where can the people find you? Austin, honorable mentions.
Face the Enemy, Third Degree, Modern Life is War by the Sea, Breakthrough, Never a Choice, Hate Breed, Straight to Your Face, Far From Breaking, See Right Through, Desperate Measures, Moving On, Dump Truck, Sucker Punch, Integrity, Heaven's Final War, and Dreams Bleed On, Madball, For My Enemies, Comeback Kid, Step Ahead, Go It Alone, Our Mistakes, Internal Affairs, Wasted Time, Come Get It, Our Turn, Keep My Cool, Suicide File, Ashcroft, and Amulet, We Are Thunders. Shout out Andy and David.
Oh yeah. Shit, that was that year too?
Yep.
What are you going to do? Dude, I had a whole paragraph written up on Modern Life is War, First and Ellen, but I didn't take it because we talked Modern Life is War, so what's up, dude? Those are my dudes. Okay, Dan, where can the people find you?
You can find me on Instagram at Southpaw Instagrammer. You can find me every 3rd Friday at the Whistle Stop in San Diego doing a Britpop night called Fucking in the Bushes. You can find me every 4th Friday doing a club called Leisure up here in San Francisco.
Chris, where can the people find you?
Chris Williams 51 on Twitter or Instagram.
Austin, where can the people find you?
You can find my personal on Instagram at Stemper Tantrum. You can find Praise at LL in a Dream. So when you spell it out, it's all in a dream.
Okay, everyone get at me, 185 miles south at gmail.com. Also, we're on all the socials, 185 miles south. And that's what's up. We will talk to you all again next week on Patreon.
Goes around, you stepped up and you're on the road. Goes around, you stepped up and you're on the road. Goes around, you stepped up and you're on the road. You know what's up. Here comes your pain. Things start to, what you're gonna do. One of the days, revenge. you will pay. Say not do what you gonna do. One of the revenge you will